The Bat universe is expanding very quickly nowadays, with hundreds of new allies and villains making their appearance, either in comics or in the movies, like for example Punchline, Clone Hunter, Miracle Molly, and many more. Don't know these names? Don't worry, since we are going to be talking more about them in the month of December. But today, guys, I will be ranking my top 5 Bat characters in no particular order, for most of them, since I really can't make up my mind on who deserves a higher spot and who doesn't. However, I will be naming my number 1 choice at the end. Without any doubt, this particular character deserves it for me. Couple of points to take note of. Batman is of course not gonna be in the list, because if he was, he would obviously take the crown, and the suspense of the one who is at the top will be immediately lost. Also, just to spice things up, and in order to not make this video just another cliché ranking, I will be naming some comic recommendations shortly after naming the characters on my list for them, just in case you guys want to check them out and have fun. I won't be going into great detail on this for time's sake, but most of these will probably and hopefully be covered up in great depth later. So let's start, shall we? Joker is the first one to pop into my mind. Now, don't worry, I won't talk a lot about him. Everyone knows who he is. How can you ever forget Pennywise? Wait, I got it wrong. Cut it please. Anyways, you may ask why I like him. The answer is, I like his attitude, the way his mind works. I like his obsession with Batman, almost like a love for him, and the way he manipulates people like Harley to do his bindings, only to dispose of them in a very harsh way when he doesn't need them anymore. Truth is that in the ongoing Joker series that runs right now, the character has lost his meaning a little bit, with James Tynion, the writer behind it, doing one fatal mistake, writing the clone Prince of Crime like he's not a psychopath. That's what I like about him. Sometimes he has moments where his ingenuity shines, and his ability to orchestrate big and complex, destructive plans show off, but that never dismisses the fact he's crazy and evil. Not every villain needs a noble reason to do the thing he does. Not every villain needs to be justified for his cruel actions, and that's exactly the case with Joker. He torments Batman just because he wants to, and he can. That's it. Take note Harley Quinn 2.0, also known as Cruella. As for what I'd recommend, Joker War is a must for those who just want to enjoy some incredible art from Jimenez, and also experience a decent story written by James Tynion. Nothing special, but it was fun to see Joker obtain the Wayne fortune and playing with Batman's toys along with Punchline, his new girlfriend, who apparently wanted to be the next one on his list to be sexually harassed. Okay, I guess she made her choice. Oh, and Joker gets his own bat armor. Did I forget to mention that? Killer Smile is an even better choice. I loved the series. It's just 3 or 4 issues, but it's the best one I have read that depicts the massive control Joker has over people the way it should. It follows Dr. Ben Arnold, yeah, not Harley Quinzel, you hear right, as he slowly understands that when Joker takes aim at you and your world starts collapsing, there is nowhere else to go for help than to him, and that, while it seems like the only choice, can be proven even more destructive. I can't praise it enough, and if you feel you didn't get enough Batman on it, you can also check out the exceptional Batman the Smile Killer, which is a direct continuation to the miniseries and explores the mind of Bruce Wayne through Joker torture on him. Of course, if I could, I will name other recommendations too in detail, like The Killing Joke, which you guys seriously need to read just so you can understand how much DC butchered the animated movie, with all that Batgirl romance crap and many more things. But unfortunately, I will run out of time like this. And in hindsight, I want you to focus on just a few recommendations, so I can give you the best of the best in my opinion, like the underrated Killer Smile book. Now, how about we go to our boy Nightwing, otherwise known as Dick, a perfectly fine name that won't get me in trouble if I say it a lot of time here. To be blatantly honest, while I said I will not be ranking the characters, Grayson will probably be in the number 5 spot. That's not to say I don't like him, otherwise he would not have been in the list to start with. Nightwing has one of the characteristics I like most about a hero, humor, and it's not over excessive humor that at some point becomes ridiculous and boring, It's humor that is used when it's should, and it's humor that makes you sympathize with his kid, the first Robin, who gradually became equal to his teacher with a new mantle and all. Dick also has some of the best romances I have seen in comics. Both Barbara and Starfire have made out for some interesting storylines, fleshing out Dick's personality even more. The fact he is now almost as great in hand-to-hand combat as Batman, combined with the fact that he can easily work with a large team, like Titans, proves he is an all-around perfect character, who has overcome Batman's tendency to work alone and made out a career of his own. The 2003 Teen Titans comic book series and the 2008 Titans series are the perfect example of Grayson's ability to being such a team member. This series not only provide a better insight to why Grayson has won over most of the comic book's audience, but explores other characters' depth as a bonus, like Roy Harper who in the Titans series and especially at the end gets his time to shine, in a tale which expresses the many difficulties he is facing every day and the impact the loss of his loved ones have on him. And because we are here to turn down all the clichés society has imposed on us, I'm actually going to go ahead and suggest to you guys to read Batgirl and Robin Thrill Killer, which takes place in 1961 and depicts the adventures of the two Shade people dealing with a corrupt police and a whole lot of murders. Granted, this is not the story to learn more about Grayson. On the contrary, this is an Elseworld story with an unpredictable and may I say, sad ending. The art is fantastic in itself, really makes you feel like the events are actually unfolding in 1961, which coincidentally is also the year my parents were born. Hey, mom and dad, why didn't you get an autograph from Batgirl back then? Hell, I could have sold it on eBay by now. But no matter what, the previously mentioned comic, consisting of only 3 issues, still remains perfect in all aspects. Sometimes, the only thing you need in life is a one and done story, which takes you in for a wild ride. And chocolate, you also need chocolate. So, 3 spots left open. Call me however you want, but I have a thing for beautiful women who dance between good and evil. I can already hear people saying, look, here is a dud, he likes fictional women, ha 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 ha, and on that front, you are right. Obsessing over something that is not real is a bit too much, but I can't help myself, especially when these characters I'm going to be mentioning are doing overly good at movies too. And who these characters may be, you ask? 3 words. The Paw Patrol. No, I'm kidding. I'm talking about the Gotham Sirens, all of them. Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and Harley freaking Quinn. As for Poison Ivy, I'm just in love with the seductor side of her. The poison kisses she gives to her opponents, and the fact she can get very serious quickly when it comes to protecting the people close to her and especially the environment. There is another version of her I don't like at all though. It's not a clone, clones are a Spider-Man thing. No, she's the mainstream version 2.0, the way she is now, basically. For those who don't know, Ivy in the most recent ongoing series Harley had has been transferred to a lighter character, with humor and all the characteristics Harley herself has. Only problem is Poison Ivy is not like that. Unfortunately, writers have forced her into this state, just so she can suit more with Harley as a couple, which in itself is not a bad thing. I always shipped these two psychos together, and this comes from a person who almost always wishes for the couples to die, be it in a movie, in a comic, or somewhere else. Heck, Titanic would have been better if everyone had been drawn from the start. See, the problem is Ivy and Harley Quinn made for a great pair exactly because they were the two opposing sides of the same coin, like they were completing each other. It made sense why they got involved romantically, and I was there for it back then. That's why I'm recommending Batman Hush and the first issues of the ongoing Harley Quinn series from 2000, in case you are looking for a more serious Ivy, who is fully in control of what she's doing and ahead of your opponents. You've probably seen the scene in the animated movie, but in Batman Hush there are some pretty powerful scenes between Poison Ivy, Superman, Batman and Catwoman that are even more fleshed out here, showing us how much control the seductress has not only on men but women also, proving to be a very powerful weapon who can manipulate others to hurt their friends and allies. Beware Batman, Clark is coming for you. As for my top read of hers, Batman Arkham Poison Ivy easily takes the win. It's basically a collection of many issues that depict her the way I like her, and I'm sure you will find at least one gem there as well. Among others, you can find her first appearance where she makes Robin and his boss fight for her, and an amazing, in my opinion, story about her having retired from her villainous persona, but also having some doubts about her decision. This particular story shows the way Ivy thinks, and the necessity of her actions when no one stands up for the things she does. Her first appearance, and also her second, where she targets not Batman but Bruce Wayne, are surprisingly excellent for the time, and I seriously wish DC could just turn her back to her old version, where she could even go against the likes of Wonder Woman and get out the top. Lastly, here is a must for me. You definitely have to read it. The first 4 issues of Poison Ivy, Cycle of Life and Death, perfectly showcase the fact Pamela can be friendly and murderous at the same time. You really see her being extremely violent to people who in her eyes deserve it. But what I also found interesting is that the writer did some pretty good things involving her romance with a new guy, who unfortunately, as I just found out, didn't stick out after the series end. While the art gradually downgrades from issue to issue, and the 2 last ones end in a kind of disappointing way, with a convoluting and for me uninteresting plot about Ivy's children. Yes, I know, that's weird. The portrayal of her in this is exceptional, showcasing her stable nature. Looking at my clock right now, I see we are running out of time, so let's hop on to Catwoman. I like her because she wears leather. That's personality right there. But no, seriously, her relationship with Batman is what sells her for me as a character. She's probably the only woman Bruce has truly loved, with the whole meaning of the word. And that says much considering Wayne is the true ladies' man. I like her because she creates more stories to be told about Batman, and sheds light to one of his most blatant insecurities, caring for others and especially being romantically involved with someone. Selina Kyle is Talia Ghul and Vicky Vale fused into one person. The fact that she actually cares about Bruce and simultaneously is capable of fighting makes her the perfect match for a man who is broken inside and out, who is desperately looking for someone to have his back, for someone to love him. And she's also hot, so you get the whole package of a badass bitch, looks and great personality. As for what I'd recommend, one thing's come to mind, and it's a hot take, very hot. Tom King's run on Batman. For those who don't know, King is a writer for DC, best known for building up the wedding of Batman and Catwoman, only to bring it all down in the 50th issues of his series. Like most, I was not a fan of that particular moment myself, since I was pretty intrigued by the idea we could finally have a new status quo for Bruce Wayne. Just for a change. But contrary to what most people think, I actually believe there are some pretty great Batcat moments in his 80 or so issues run of his. 2 issues in particular, where Bruce is recovering from Bane's attack and Selina is there to encourage him, have really stuck in my mind. Granted, the whole story didn't make a lot of sense if you consider the bigger story arc taking place, but as 2 one and done issues of Batman and Catwoman, having some great dialogue on the beach and training along with each other, King did a pretty good job on them. And there are other ones of his worth reading, showcasing the best way possible how Batman can overcome almost every challenge if he has Selina by his side, fueled by her very intense personality to say the least. And after this very unpopular opinion, risking to get tomatoes thrown in my face, let's declare my most favorite Bat-related character, none other than freaking Harley Quinn. Her craziness is what gets me, guys, and she even has humor that almost always lands. She kicks the shit out of people and she is fully aware of her looks, often making jokes about even how damn beautiful she is. And if you want her serious, you can get serious. Just go read the ongoing Suicide Squad from 2011. The crazy lady torments Deadshot by putting Joker's cut-out face on him and kissing him like a maniac. How messed up is that? I haven't read it myself as of yet, but it's in my immediate future reads. I live for Psycho Harley murdering people left and right. I also live for a Harley with personality and backstory, and that's exactly what I got by reading her 2016 Rebirth Ongoing, which really dived into her complicated family relationship and dealt with Quinn accepting the loss of her mother. It's a really emotional story, with some crazy ass moments too, like Harley going to Apocalypse and becoming a hurler of granny goodness. Where else can you see that? But the recommendations don't stop there. I have a long way to go, so hear me out. Harleen is a black label title, meaning it's for a more mature audience, about Harley's origin story, and I'm sure you're probably under the impression you've already watched that on the big screen. Well, yes and no. This masterpiece of a comic excels on telling a complete tale about how Harleen turned to the psycho she is today, giving us great conversation between her and the Joker, and even her and Poison Ivy. I can't say a lot of things about it without getting into spoilers, so I will just add that the art in this one is incredible, and I will also praise the comic one more time for taking something that has been told before and actually making it miles better, devoting the necessary time to explain the way Quinzel thinks and acts. And speaking of facts, if you want to see Rick Flag banning Harley Quinn in the middle of a mission, Rebirth Suicide Squad is the run for you. Admittedly, this specific run consists of many issues, but I remember liking most of them, with some big names like General Zod joining the well-known team. Now that I think about it, I have actually enjoyed all the Suicide Squad comics where Harley has been. She really works out with other characters by her side, and those other characters are in fact the ones that keep expanding the depth of her personality. Thing that is shown even more clearly in the Suicide Squad run written by Tom Taylor, where Harley has to work with her largely brand new teammates in order to take out Amanda Waller's replacement, a shithead worse than their boss lady. Yeah, something worse exists than Amanda Waller, shocking, I know. James Tynion did good with Harley Quinn as well, even though I'm not a fan of his Batman run as a whole. He brought Harley Quinn back to Gotham and made her a proper anti-hero, so that's a win in my book. And she also has some dope dialogue with Batman and Ghostmaker, his new partner in crime. Double win. I have a feeling this video is going to end up the longest one for me. It was worth it though, since I always wanted to gush about Harley Quinn for 5 minutes straight. I'm a fanboy, what can I do? All in all, Batman undoubtedly has the best universe in comic book history. His villains and allies just keep growing and growing, and with each new entry I can't do anything but wonder. Will this ever get boring? The answer is no. I don't see myself getting bored from too much Bat Family. There is a reason every character related to Batman gets love from the audience, and it's not Batman. It's because each one of them, Joker, Poison Ivy, Penguin, Damian, is unique in his own way. It's enriching the mythos of Bruce Wayne furthermore, and it's getting his or her own little corner to play with the toys provided. Sure, you may not like Harley freaking Quinn. Maybe you find her an annoying little clone with a bad taste of humor. That's okay. That's the magic of the Bat universe. There is something for everyone. A psycho for the crazy ones, a femme fatale for the romantic ones, a broken man with a duty for the heroic ones, and the list just keeps going and going. So I will leave you with these thoughts right now, and hope to see you in the next video, where we will be talking about an undecided subject as of yet. Go check out some of the comics I recommended, and see you very soon. Have a great Bat day.